Hello, everyone. Meteorologist Joel Curtis with your aviation weather, and this is issued on Wednesday, September 27th, 2023. Let's get started. First, we've got a segment for volcanic ash. So what we're seeing here is resuspended volcanic ash. There's been no eruption from Katmai volcano due to some strong northwesterly winds, and that surfaced to 6,000 feet. And please, tomorrow when you're flight planning, do check on to see if there's any segments in effect for volcanic ash. So for our flying weather on Thursday morning, first of all, we got some IFR along the Beaufort and in the Chukchi Sea. Marginal VFR generally along the north slope, also into the Brooks Range, with a little IFR, mountaintop obscuration. Also a little bit on the Seward Peninsula and also in the Bering Strait area. Also in the southeastern interior, generally over higher terrain with marginal VFR, a lot from the upper Tanana Valley, and then IFR along the mountains on the inside passage, and then marginal VFR for just about everywhere on the northeastern Gulf Coast. And then also some IFR conditions over the eastern Aleutians and marginal VFR over the entire Bering Sea. On Thursday afternoon, however, things improved really quite a bit. Lots of marginal VFR along the west coast and into the Brooks Range, also offshore for the North Slope, also all over the Bering Sea as these weather systems start to move through there. And then we have some IFR conditions in the northern part of the Panhandle, marginal VFR over higher terrain in the inside passage, and some marginal VFR in the southeast mainland and northeast Gulf Coast. And then for Friday morning, again, that IFR persists for the northern Panhandle. Lots of marginal VFR in the Panhandle, northeast Gulf Coast, southeast mainland, a little bit in the eastern Brooks Range. And then what we're also seeing is plenty of IFR along the Bering Strait, into Kotzebue Sound, into Norton Sound, southwest Alaska, and then south of the Aleutians, and marginal VFR just about everywhere in the west. And then for Friday afternoon, things improve. We'll give it again some IFR along the Chukchi Sea, also in the central interior. A little bit of IFR south of Dutch Harbor, marginal VFR over most of the Bering Sea and into the southwest. And then for the Panhandle, things have improved quite a bit on Friday afternoon. Marginal VFR predicted in the northern Panhandle, a little bit along the North Gulf Coast and out in the Gulf. So now for our pass conditions. Anatuvik Pass, marginal VFR. Thursday, Adigan Pass, marginal VFR. Lake Clark and Merrill Pass, VFR. Rainy Pass, VFR. Windy Pass, marginal VFR, improving in VFR in the afternoon. Isabel Pass, marginal VFR, becoming VFR. Mentasta Pass, IFR, becoming marginal VFR. Tahiti Pass, VFR. Portage Pass, VFR. Chilkoot and White Pass, both IFR with those conditions in the northern Panhandle. For our freezing levels Thursday morning, again, at the surface for much of the mainland portion of the state, including down to the Gulf Coast. Then we have some temperature inversions over south central and into the western interior. Then we have 2,000 feet, ramping up to 8,000 feet as you get far south in the Gulf. So that sets our icing for Thursday. An area of considerable moderate along the west coast as that front approaches 2,000 to 14,000 feet. And then a little bit of isolated moderate along the North Gulf Coast, southeastern interior, and the northern part of the Panhandle. And that'll be about 6,000 feet to about 10,000 feet. So now for our jet stream. The main thrust of the jet stream is to the south of the state. So let's take a look, first of all the way up to 155 knots. Notice that the jet stream is turned anticyclonically, so the wind directions are about west and northwest. Again, that core, 155 knots. Otherwise, not a whole lot of westerlies over the state, ramping up to maybe 25 knots or so. But that main jet staying over the Alaska Peninsula and the Aleutians. And now for our 9,000-foot winds, not a whole lot going on there. An upper level low just off the west coast, and that's driving about 35 knot westerlies into the Alaska Peninsula and the eastern Aleutians. And then also we've got some south-southwesterlies in the western interior, and that becomes southwesterlies over the north slope. Again, about 25 knots or so, not much going on. 3,000-foot winds, got about 35 knot southerlies over Norton Sound, and also some at least 30 knots westerlies over the eastern Bering Sea and into the Alaska Peninsula, and that sets up a little bit of turbulence. As far as our turbulence forecast, this is a fairly light day, but out over the Aleutians, surface to 3,000 feet, especially in the morning, and then for the afternoon, surface to about 6,000 feet with a little area, a corridor of considerable moderate into the western interior just off the coast. And so that's it for our aviation forecast. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to file a flight plan. And again, stay safe out there.